Zoom check.
No, he's here.
Everybody settle down. Everybody settle down. Everybody settle down. Good afternoon and welcome to the New York City Council vote of the Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchise. At this time, can everybody please silence your cell phones? Chair, we are ready to begin.
Good afternoon and welcome to a meeting of the Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchises. I'm Councilmember Kevin Riley, Chair of this subcommittee. This afternoon, I am joined by Councilmembers Shulman, Abreu, Hanks, Carr, Majority Leader Farias, Councilmember Osei, and Hudson. Today, we are voting on the Atlantic Avenue Mixed Use Plan, also known as AIM Up, in Councilmember Hudson and Osei's district. AIM Up consists of LUs 257 through 266, as well as 273 and 274. Please note that the LUs 277 and 278, which were listed on today's agenda regarding the 166 Kings Highway rezoning proposal in Councilmember Wong district, are laid over. Starting with AIM Up, this is a major achievement for both the local community and council. In response to the pattern of uncoordinated rezonings along Atlantic Avenue and in Brooklyn, the local community saw the need to implement a comprehensive plan that would guide development and address the community's priorities. Together with the local community, Councilmember Hudson and Osei's work on creating a plan that would not only bring needed affordable housing, but also long-awaited infrastructure improvements and additional resources for workforce development. I will let Councilmember Hudson and Osei describe what they have achieved in more details, but I want to highlight that this neighborhood plan will produce approximately 4,600 new homes, of which approximately 1,900 will be affordable. This is more affordable housing than Community Board 3 and 8 have produced in over the last 10 years. To support this new housing, the plan contains extensive infrastructure investment to parks and streets, and investments in programs to support existing residents. This is a very impressive achievement. This plan, which came out of collaboration between the council members, the local community, and the administration, is a model for neighborhood planning and how to create more housing. It is a comprehensive approach that addresses the neighborhood's specific needs beyond housing. As I have said over the past 2 years, planning is more than just the number of apartments created. We will not successfully produce the housing that we need as a city without addressing the broader needs of our communities. And here, in partnership with the administration, a truly comprehensive approach was achieved. I am looking forward to using this model in my own district. So thank you to Councilmember Hudson and Osei for paving the way. This neighborhood plan has a lot of moving pieces, and I will quickly summarize them. AIM Up involves 12 different land use actions, including 10 ULURP applications by the NYC Department of City Planning, DCAS, and HPD, and 2 non-ULURP dispositions actions by HPD pursuant to Article 11 of the Private Housing Finance Law. Starting with the ULURP actions, this is a 21-block rezoning, which will amend the zoning map to increase residential densities and create mixed-use districts to allow a combination of residential, commercial, and light industrial uses within the rezoning areas, primarily along Atlantic Avenue between Vanderbilt and Nostrand Ave. There's also an action to amend the zoning resolution, which will create the AIM Up Special District and map mandatory inclusionary housing known as MIH. The other 10 ULURP actions involve the designation of urban development action areas and projects under state law, together with acquisitions and dispositions authority pursuant to section 197-D of the charter for the city to create 100% affordable housing on multiple sites. These sites include 457 Nostrand Ave, 1134-1142 Pacific Ave, 542 Dean, 516 Bergen, and 1110 Atlantic Avenue. We are recommending the following modifications to the zoning map amendment and zoning text amendment that the City Plan Commission approve. The proposed special districts include a mechanism to create additional open space on development sites along Atlantic Avenue. To ensure that these privately constructed and maintained but publicly accessible open spaces provide meaningful and usable open space for the community, we are recommending that the minimum lot of the property to qualify for this mechanism be increased from 25,000 square feet to 30,000 square feet. This will limit these open spaces to larger sites, which will have more space to create them and more resources to maintain them. The second recommendation modification is to remove MIH option 2 and 3. This will ensure the most affordable housing is produced for families within an income range that matches the salaries of Community Board 3 and 8 residents. The other two modification recommendations concern the proposed zoning districts. In the portion of the rezoning area along Bergen and Dean by Atlantic Avenue, the administration is recommending a residential R7D district. However, we believe a more appropriate district is a residential R7A district for these non-public sites. This area of rezoning is defined by traditional 4-story homes along Bergen, and R7A is mapped along Flatbush. Accordingly, R7A is more in context for the area. However, we are maintaining that R7D on the public sites to maximize the amount of affordable housing that can be built on these properties, while still acknowledging the built context of this area. The other modifications we are recommending to the proposed rezoning area is to maintain the existing manufacturing area as purely as a light industrial zone. The administration is proposing a mix of residential and manufacturing use for these areas between Classen and Franklin Avenue along Dean and Bergen Street. The modification is to remove and propose R6A paired district and only apply the M1-2A district designation. This is consistent with the objectives of the neighborhood plan to preserve existing affordable space for light industrial uses and to generate more light industrial jobs. I will now first turn it over to Councilmember Hudson, followed by Councilmember Osei to comment on this community-driven planning effort. Councilmember Hudson.
Thank you so much, Chair Riley and members of the subcommittee. When I came into office in 2022, a top concern of my district was to address the uncoordinated and piecemeal development along Atlantic Avenue, and I made this my priority. After more than 10 years of community advocacy, we've finally arrived at the finish line for the Atlantic Avenue Mixed-Use Plan, or AMUP. As Chair Riley said, housing alone is not enough. We have to address our neighborhood's infrastructure needs. We need to create open spaces that families can use. We need to make sure our existing residents are not pushed out of the neighborhood and are provided with job opportunities. This is comprehensive planning that is community-driven, and that is exactly what we did here. AMUP will transform this stretch of Atlantic Avenue from a dangerous thoroughfare to a green, livable, safer street surrounded by new housing and renovated parks. It truly takes a village to develop a comprehensive community plan, and I'd like to express my gratitude to all the community leaders, constituents, government colleagues, and my fellow council member, Chi Osei, and our tireless council planning and land use staff for making this plan a reality. At the beginning of public review, this plan had only 3 public sites committed for 100% affordable housing development. In this part of central Brooklyn, housing affordability is truly a crisis. Nearly half of the Black population has been displaced in the last 20 years by rising rents. We fought alongside our community to make deeply affordable housing the #1 priority in this plan, and that's exactly what we're delivering. AMUP will now bring 900 new affordable apartments across 7 public sites and an additional 1,000 affordable apartments through MIH. 1,900 units of affordable housing, representing roughly 40% of all new housing generated by the plan, is more affordable housing than has been completed across the entirety of community districts 3 and 8 since 2014. Each one of these 1,900 apartments represents a lifeline for working-class families, especially the Black families who are the backbone of central Brooklyn. Alongside new affordable housing, we're also bringing new resources to help tenants and homeowners remain in their homes. In partnership with our local community-based organizations, HPD is expanding funding for tenant organizing, outreach, and homeowner assistance throughout central Brooklyn. And we will now have full-time tenant and legal assistance providers available at each of our council district offices to offer rapid responses to those in need. In addition to affordable housing, we secured over $200 million in infrastructure and community investments in open space, including a city commitment to fully fund and implement a comprehensive redesign of Atlantic Avenue. The redesign of Atlantic Avenue will begin this year and advance as quickly as possible through the full DOT process of scoping, design, and construction. We also won DOT commitments for safer bike lanes on Dean and Bergen Streets in conjunction with Brooklyn Bus Network redesign changes. Throughout this process, our community also pushed for investments and policies to improve economic opportunity and ensure that new development brings a variety of types of businesses and jobs to the neighborhood. AIM-UP will bring new locally targeted workforce development programs, local hiring halls, and a long overdue feasibility study of activating the Bedford Atlantic Armory. And we have a clear commitment from the Department of City Planning to revise the mixed-use zoning incentive to specifically support light industrial, arts, and cultural space, a priority of Community Board 8 for over a decade. Through zoning modifications, we are also ensuring that 1000 Dean and neighboring buildings continue to remain essential space for light industrial, arts, and small businesses. Finally, as we move forward with implementation of AIM-UP, the Mayor's Office and relevant city agencies will continue to work with our offices and Community Boards 3 and 8 with biannual meetings to provide updates and gather community input. I'd like to especially thank Brooklyn Community Board 8, including Chair Yrsa Weatherspoon and N-Crown Subcommittee Chair Gib Vacconi for their tireless work on this proposal, which began before I entered office. And I'll now turn it over to Councilmember Osei to speak more about what AIM-UP will bring to the 36th District. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hudson. Councilmember Osei.
Thank you, Chair. I want to echo what my colleague, Councilmember Hudson, said earlier regarding the years of work put into this plan by members of the Crown Heights and Bedford-Stuyvesant communities. The Atlantic Avenue Mixed-Use Plan, also known as AIM-UP, is a testament to the good that can come out of a neighborhood rezoning when we work with the community to address their needs. This plan will change the stretch of Atlantic Avenue for the better, making it a safer and more pedestrian-friendly thoroughfare. I truly appreciate their and Councilmember Hudson's partnership throughout this process. AIM-UP will bring much-needed housing, the redesign of Atlantic Avenue into a safer road for all users, and much-needed upgrades to our infrastructure. Both our districts have seen large levels of displacement over the last several years, particularly the displacement of Black families who have built and made the neighborhoods of the 35th and 36th districts home for generations. That displacement is caused by a housing scarcity. This plan will alleviate that scarcity. At a time when market rents have surged above $3,000 a month, this plan will bring nearly 2,000 units of income-restricted housing, a majority of which will be deeply affordable. I am particularly excited about the commitment to transform the open parking lot of the Brooklyn Adult Learning Center at 457 Nostrand Avenue into income-restricted homes for over 200 families, alongside new expanded space for this amazing NYCPS facility for adult education and economic empowerment. Because of the advocacy of local community groups, we will see a major upgrade to the area around the Franklin Avenue shuttle station at Fulton Street. I'm pleased that the MTA has committed to working with the city to revitalize the blank wall along Frank Avenue with public art, rehabilitate the shuttle walkway across Fulton Street, improve the area beneath the overpass on Lefferts Place, and bring key resources to address long-standing quality of life issues raised by our constituents. I want to thank the MTA for prioritizing this and continuing to work to bring additional improvements to the Fulton AC line, reaching residents across the 35th and 36th council districts. AIM-UP also includes nearly $100 million in investment for our parks, infrastructure, playgrounds, and community gardens, including full redesigns of St. Andrew's Playground, Hancock and Potomac Playgrounds, and Bed-Stuy, parks that have not received a deep investment and renovation in years. These investments will transform asphalt blacktops to more healthy, cool, and permeable spaces in our local parks, provide state-of-the-art play equipment for our children, and see the construction of new comfort facilities. This is a win for the community, and I'm excited to see the transformation of these spaces when complete. I also want to note that through AIM-UP, we work to ask the administration to look into address the long-standing issues that impact Hattie Jones Court and Jewel McCoy Lane by Harmony Park. As part of the AIM-UP agreement, the city is committing to resolving the decades-long ownership question and develop a plan to tackle maintenance issues that impact the two streets. After 30 years of questions and ambiguity, I am excited that AIM-UP will work to deliver a resolution for the constituents of these blocks. Throughout the process, we never stopped advocating for our community. I would like to thank our partners in city government, council staff, specifically our land use team, Paris Schroeder, William Vidal, Brian Paul, and Tim Anderson, but most importantly, community leaders and my constituents who recognize the undeniable need for housing. I would also like to thank one of my favorite staffers, May Vuchapong Vitana. The people damaging to lives and communities are adding to our housing shortage, and it is truly unacceptable and horrifying. The people committed to keeping a roof over people's heads and committed to ensuring our neighbors can continue to thrive and grow in our communities they built, for keeping us to task and providing their valuable input. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Osei Hudson. And like I stated in my remarks, I'm definitely going to be utilizing this model in my district and really appreciate the hard work that you did for your community. Council, are there any members of the council who have any questions regarding this proposal?
No, Chair.
No? All right, I will now call for a vote to approve modifications to LUs 257 through 266 relating to AIM Up, to approve LU 273 relating to the 457 Nostrand Avenue Article 11 disposition, and to approve LU 274 relating to 1134-1142 Pacific Street Article 11 disposition. Council, please call the roll.
Chair Riley?
Aye.
Councilmember Abreu?
Aye.
Councilmember Hanks?
Aye.
Councilmember Schulman?
Aye.
Councilmember Salam?
I vote aye.
Councilmember Carr?
Aye.
By a vote of 6 in affirmative, 0 opposing, and 0 abstention, LUs 259 through 256, 273, and 274 are approved, and LUs 257 and 258 are approved with modifications. These items are now referred to the full Land Use Committee.
Thank you, Councilor. Just for the record, we were joined by Councilmember Salam. That concludes today's business. I would like to thank the members of the public, my colleagues, subcommittee council, land use, and other council staff, and the Sergeant at Arms participating in today's meeting. This meeting is hereby adjourned.